English Learning Podcast.
Listen, learn, and effortlessly enhance your English.
Hello, my amazing students. Welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Noel, and I'm so glad you're here. You can always connect with me and find more resources at English Learning Podcast on social media. I love hearing about your progress. Today, we're going to dive into a skill that's often overlooked but is absolutely fundamental to truly mastering English: active listening. You see, most English learners spend countless hours on vocabulary, grammar, and even speaking. Practice. All of that is incredibly important, of course, but how much time do we truly dedicate to how we listen? Do we really understand the nuances, the hidden meanings, the subtle cues that native speakers use every single day? Think about it. You might be able to read an English newspaper and understand most of the words. You might even be able to construct grammatically correct sentences when you speak. But then, you get into a real-time conversation, or you try to watch a movie without subtitles, or listen to a fast-paced podcast, and suddenly it feels like a completely different language. The words seem to blur together, the accent is unfamiliar, or the speaker's tone suggests something different from their literal words. You might miss jokes, misunderstand intentions, or feel lost when people speak quickly. I know this feeling very well. For a long time, I thought listening practice just meant having English audio playing in the background. I listened to music, watched TV shows, and played podcasts. I understood the general idea, maybe 60–70% of the words, and I thought that was enough. But when I tried to participate in a rapid-fire group discussion or grasp the subtle humor in a comedy show, I realized I was missing a huge piece of the puzzle. I was hearing the words, but I wasn't truly understanding the message, the emotion, or the subtext. I was a passive listener, and what I really needed to become was an active listener. If you've ever felt this gap between what you hear and what you truly comprehend, you are absolutely not alone. In fact, it's one of the most common frustrations for English learners. And that's exactly what we're going to tackle today. We'll deconstruct what active listening truly means, explore why it's such a game changer for your fluency, and give you practical strategies to sharpen your listening skills beyond just understanding individual words. The myth of passive listening. Why just hearing isn't enough. Let's start by clarifying a common misconception. Passive listening is not the same as active listening. Passive listening is what most of us do automatically. It's when you have English audio on, perhaps as background noise while you're doing other things. You might catch some words, understand the general topic, and absorb a little, but you're not fully engaged. Think of listening to a song while you're doing chores or having a TV show on while you scroll through your phone. It has some benefits like getting your ear used to the sounds of English, but its impact on your comprehension is limited. You're hearing words, but not necessarily processing them deeply. Active listening, on the other hand, is a focused, intentional process. It's about fully engaging with the speaker and the message. It means paying attention not just to what is being said, but how it's being said, why it's being said, and even what's not being said. It's a dynamic two-way street. Even if you're just listening to a podcast or a video, you're constantly analyzing, interpreting, and connecting the dots. This level of engagement is crucial for real-world communication and for achieving genuine fluency. Why is active listening such a game changer? It builds deeper comprehension. You move beyond just understanding words to grasping meaning, intention, and emotion. This is vital for following complex conversations, understanding humor, sarcasm, or subtle politeness. It improves your speaking. The more accurately you understand how native speakers connect ideas, use intonation, and respond, the better you'll be able to mimic those patterns in your own speech. Listening is input. Speaking is output. Better input leads to better output. It boosts confidence. When you truly understand what's being said, you feel more comfortable participating, asking relevant questions, and contributing meaningfully to conversations. It enhances cultural understanding. Language is deeply intertwined with culture. Active listening helps you pick up on cultural nuances, idioms, and social cues that are essential for effective cross-cultural communication. So how do we move from passive hearing to active, powerful listening? Let's deconstruct some key elements of spoken English that active listeners pay attention to. Deconstructing spoken English. Beyond just words are just one layer of communication. To truly understand English, you need to peel back the other layers. The power of intonation and pitch. The music of English is a stress-timed language, meaning certain syllables and words are emphasized, and the pitch of your voice, how high or low it is, changes to convey meaning. This is often called the music or melody of English, rising intonation, often used for questions, e.g., "You're happy?" It can also signal uncertainty or a list that's not finished. Falling intonation, typically used for statements, e.g., "You're happy," commands, or finished thoughts. It conveys certainty. Rising falling intonation, often used for exclamations, strong emotions, or to emphasize a point. Pitch variation. How much your voice goes up and down can signal excitement, boredom, sarcasm, or disbelief. Active listening strategy. When you listen, don't just focus on the words. Pay attention to how the speaker's voice rises and falls. Example. Consider the phrase, "I'm fine," said with a falling intonation and calm tone. "I'm fine." Literal meaning, genuinely fine, said with a rising intonation and a somewhat strained tone. "I'm fine?" Questioning, perhaps not fine, seeking confirmation, said with a flat low pitch and slow pace. "I'm fine." Implies boredom, annoyance, or definitely not fine. If you only listen to the words "I'm fine," you might miss the true message. Active listeners hear the intonation and understand the speaker's real state. Stress and rhythm. The beat of the yi. Message in English, not all words are equally important. Content words, nouns, main verbs, adjectives, adverbs, usually carry the most meaning and are often stressed. Function words, articles, prepositions, conjunctions, are usually unstressed and can be reduced. This creates the rhythm of English. Word stress. Emphasizing a specific word can completely change the meaning of a sentence. "I didn't say he stole the money. Someone else did." "I didn't say he stole the money. I denied it." "I didn't say he stole the money. I implied it or gestured it." "I didn't say he stole the money. Someone else stole it." "I didn't say he stole the money. He just borrowed it or took it in another way." "I didn't say he stole the money. He stole something else." Active listening strategy. Train your ear to identify which words are stressed. These are often the key words that convey the speaker's main point or focus. If you're struggling to understand a sentence, listen again for the stressed words. They're your navigational beacons. Connected speech and reductions. Real world. English flow. Native English speakers rarely pronounce every word distinctly, especially in casual conversation. Words connect, sounds change, and some sounds are reduced or even disappear. This is called connected speech or elision. Examples. Going to often becomes gonna. Want to becomes wanna. Did you can sound like deedja. Don't know often becomes dunno. Could have becomes could've or even coulda. Active listening strategy. Instead of listening for individual words, try to listen for phrases or chunks of sound. This is why learning phrases is so powerful. As we discussed in our last episode, shadowing practice, listening and repeating exactly, is also incredibly effective for internalizing these natural reductions. Don't be surprised if the full form of a word sounds different in fast, natural speech. Your goal is to recognize the sound chunk that represents the meaning. Navigating accents, a world of English voices. English is a global language, spoken with countless accents: British, American, Australian, Indian, Nigerian, South African, and many more. Each accent has its own unique pronunciation patterns, intonation, and rhythm. Trying to understand only one accent, limits your ability to communicate globally. Active listening strategy. Actively seek out exposure to a variety of English accents. Don't just stick to American or British English if those are what you're most familiar with. Listen to podcasts from different English-speaking countries. Watch movies and TV shows from different regions. Use online resources like YouTube channels that specifically feature diverse accents. When you encounter a new accent, focus on the overall flow and context rather than getting stuck on every single word. Your ear will gradually adapt. Remember, there's no perfect accent. The goal is intelligibility and broad comprehension. The layers of meaning. Understanding what's really being said. Beyond the mechanics of sound, active listening involves grasping the deeper layers of meaning. Listening for implied meaning. Reading between the lines native speakers often don't say exactly what they mean in a literal sense. They imply, hint, or use figurative language. This is where active listening becomes an art. Sarcasm. "Oh, that was a brilliant idea." Said with falling, exaggerated intonation, implying it was actually a terrible idea. Politeness, indirectness. "I was wondering if you might be able to help me with this," instead of a direct, "help me." Active listeners understand that the key, longer, more complex sentence is about politeness, not about being unsure. Humor idioms. Jokes often rely on wordplay or cultural references. Idioms like, "It's raining cats and dogs," are not literal. Emotional cues. Is the speaker's voice tight? Is their tone frustrated? Are they speaking faster than usual? These nonverbal cues, or paraverbal, meaning beyond the words, communicate just as much, if not more, than the words themselves. Active listening strategy. Pay attention to the context of the conversation. Who is speaking to whom? What is their relationship? What's the situation? Also, listen closely to intonation and facial expressions, if you can see them. If something sounds odd or too literal, consider if there's an implied meaning, sarcasm, or an idiom at play. Developing this skill comes with increased exposure and conscious reflection. Recognizing turn-taking cues. The flow of conversation. Conversations are like dances. There's a rhythm to when one person speaks, and when the other listens. Active listeners are attuned to these subtle signals. Rising, falling intonation. As mentioned, falling intonation often signals a speaker is finishing their thought, while rising can indicate they're pausing but intend to continue. Pauses. A short pause might mean the speaker is thinking, but a longer pause often signals it's your turn. Filler words. Words like, like, can signal a speaker is thinking, or that they are about to transition to a new idea. Body language, eye contact. In person or video calls, a speaker looking at you might be inviting you to respond. Active listening strategy. Practice anticipating when the speaker is likely to finish their turn. This helps you formulate your response more naturally and avoid interrupting or having awkward silences. This is a skill that only truly develops through real-time interaction. Practical tools and habits for cultivating active listening. How do you actively practice these skills? Here are some highly effective tools and tiny habits you can integrate into your daily routine. The shadowing technique, your echo skill. How to do it. Find a short audio or video clip, 1-2 minutes, of a native speaker, e.g., from a podcast, TED Talk news report. Play a sentence or a short phrase, then immediately pause and try to repeat it exactly as you heard it. Focus on mimicking the pronunciation, intonation, rhythm, and even the speed. Why it's powerful. This trains your ear to catch subtle sounds, your mouth muscles to produce them, and your brain to connect sound with meaning. It's like a full-body workout for your English listening and speaking. Start with just 5 minutes a day. The micro-transcription. Challenge. How to do it. Take a very short audio clip, 15-30 seconds. Listen to it repeatedly and try to write down every single word you hear, including all the little words and reductions. Then, compare your transcription to the actual script, if available, or listen with subtitles. Why it's powerful. This forces intense, focused listening. It reveals exactly where your ear is missing sounds, or where connected speech is causing confusion. It's challenging, but incredibly effective. For diagnostic listening, do this once or twice a week. Targeted listening with a purpose. How to do it. Instead of just listening, give yourself a specific listening goal. For example, today, I will listen for all the words the speaker stresses, or I will listen for moments of sarcasm, or I will identify 3 new idioms. Why it's powerful. It turns passive listening into an active investigation. It trains your ear to recognize specific linguistic features and helps you build a mental library of patterns. Listen and respond with a partner or yourself. How to do it. Find a language partner, or even use an AI chatbot. Listen to a statement or question, and then immediately formulate a response. Don't overthink it. Just respond. Why it's powerful. This simulates real-time conversation. It forces you to process incoming information quickly and prepare an output, which is the essence of active listening in communication. Immersive sound baths. How to do it. While not strictly active, this is great for building familiarity. Set aside time to just immerse yourself in English audio without worrying about understanding every word. This could be a movie, a long podcast, or an audiobook. Let the sounds wash over you. Why it's powerful. This builds your general comfort with the speed and flow of English, even if you're not actively dissecting it. It's a foundational step for easing into more focused listening. Your active listening journey begins. Now, active listening isn't a passive skill. It's a dynamic art form. It requires conscious effort and consistent practice, but the rewards are immense. When you become an active listener, you'll not only understand English at a much deeper level, but you'll also become a more empathetic communicator, a quicker thinker, and a more confident speaker. You'll unlock layers of meaning you never knew existed. It's about training your ear, your brain, and your intuition to work together. It's about moving beyond simply hearing the words to truly deconstructing the message, the emotion, and the intent. So, my friend, I invite you to take the first step today. Don't try to master all these techniques at once. Choose one active listening strategy that resonates with you. Perhaps you'll commit to 5 minutes of shadowing a short clip. Maybe you'll do a 30-second micro-transcription of a challenging sentence, or you'll simply try to notice the intonation in every English sentence you hear today. Make it a tiny, achievable step, but commit to doing it consistently. Over time, these small acts of active listening will compound, and you'll find yourself understanding English with a clarity and depth you never thought possible. Thank you for joining me on the English Learning Podcast today. I hope this detailed exploration of active listening empowers you to unlock new levels of comprehension and confidence in your English journey. Remember, understanding is a journey, not a destination. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep growing.